Hello, hello, our friends. Welcome to another epic episode of Legacy. I'm sorry, not a Legacy Leader Show, but a Matrix Momentum Show. Which show I'm on, right? A Matrix Momentum Show, and we have a really, really epic conversation because, of course, Legacy World is in it, and we're talking about hot topic. And I will tell you why it's so hot. The world legacy itself, one of the top search words in the last 3 years. So many movies are being made using the legacy in it, or trying to describe it, trying to engage it, and trying to actually develop on individual or team or organizational level. And legacy is being a hot topic with a reason. And we're discussing today why is legacy so important and how to obtain it more than anything. Why it matter, why should matter if it doesn't matter, right? So we're having, again, our great colleagues here. We're having Shay, the future state doctor, joining us from Ireland. We have Arvind joining us from Germany. We have Hamsi joining us from United Arab Emirates. And we are having Khalid join us from Saudi Arabia. And of course, I am joining you from United States. And we're having a fantastic topic for all of you. So let's just quickly introduce legacy as a concept. What the legacy means to you, and why you guys think it's important. Who would like to jump in first?
Who will jump in first for the legacy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess you Hamsi, you on.
By default, by opening your mouth, you have to chat now, Hamamzi.
Okay, of course, legacy it is like your mark on the world. You have to leave your mark. You have to someone remembers you with something good. If you are dealing with people nice, if you are kind to people, dealing with people with empathy, with compassion, not giving people hard time. If you're a manager or if you're a dad, even giving a hard time to your daughter, it's how you'll be remembered. You always want to leave this legacy that you're remembered for something good. You are sharing knowledge, you are helping people, you are giving more than taking and asking. So this is for me. This is the legacy. Something good to remember about you. Not when I remember you, I'll just say, "Oh, that was an." I don't want to say a bad word, yani, Allah. When I remember someone, I say, "Wow, this guy he left his mark really." When I remember, for example, Einstein, big guys, or even when I remember a manager. So I'll talk from my experience. 2 or 3 managers that I always remember, and we're now friends. This is legacy. He left a legacy for me, and always I remember this guy. He left his mark on me and on all his team. So this is for me the legacy.
Fantastic, Hamsi. I love it, and it's such a tangible and very relatable in many ways. And we'll get into it, how it's actually relatable and tangible for everybody that is listening and that wants to up their game. Arvind, what is your take specifically, since you've been exposed to so many different global environments and seen a lot, wide range from poverty and social economics, privileged to very developed, high-level countries. What is your take?
Yeah, so I think as Hamamsi mentioned, that all what you have achieved, what you have contributed to the society is defined as a legacy. And for me, why we need that, it can be for me, like even civilizations, not an individuals, they have groups of people, not only individual, have legacies. And a lot of ancient civilizations also left a lot of their legacies in terms of technology. It can be even simple mathematics. It's a legacy of a certain group of a certain civilization. But why we need in the region where we operate, where I operate in most of the global south, because people always need role model to push themselves from where they are. And
Yes.
legacies are certain ways of creating the role model, relatable role model. For example, if I have to to talk to a women about women empowerment, I cannot speak about Michelle Obama into Sri Lankan people, Sri Lankan women. So I need a local role model, local legacy that I have to use to help these people to identify their true purpose. And that's why it's all about finding the true purpose from the people who have already contributed huge to the society.
I love that. Relatability is so important, right? And then what is possible to elevate people and to think and know that they can do more and then find the path forward. That's so brilliant. How about you, Khalid? What is your take on that?
Legacy for me, it's a choice. I would say it's real choice. Legacy, it's inspiration. Legacy, it's giving more than you take, as Hamamsi said. Legacy, it's being yourself. Legacy is defining where do you want to go and how you will impact people. Legacy, it's a choice. Legacy, it's everything about you. Legacy, it's not an easy thing that everyone can say that I need to leave a legacy. Legacy needs a real hard work. Legacy needs to be yourself. Legacy needs to be authentic. Legacy needs to be chasing something bigger than you, bigger than everything that you're doing just for yourself. Legacy, I believe it's something that devoting or giving too much than what you receive. I do remember it's all about the vision. It's all about you. It's all about how do you want and what is your action towards your legacy. Give you an example like what we do. We need to leave an impact. That's why we are doing what we're doing today. Every one of us in Metrics Momentum, every one of us wants to have a legacy. Why we're doing what we're doing now? Because we want to impact people's life. We want to help people. We want to move them. We want to give them the best. We want to give them the best values. We want to give them. Once you give more than what you receive, once you have the attitude of serving, you will be able to leave a legacy. This is just the definition of legacy from my point of view.
Excellent. And future Dr. State, what is your
Future
take?
Doctor State. I like that. I like that new title. Like that. So me, well, you know what? This is a burning question that I always have, and it's a question I ask often myself. And the first time it came into my sort of mind about this legacy is when I read a book from Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He paints a picture. I'm not going to tell what he does, but because it's a really interesting exercise. But he makes you think of a picture of how people will talk about you at the end of your life. You know, what will they say at your funeral? And that is the legacy that you leave.
Yeah.
And now work backwards to create that legacy. What are the things you're going to have to do along your journey for people to say those things about you at your funeral? And I thought that was a really powerful way of thinking about it because I'd never thought about it like that before. But going back to what you said, Khalid, exactly. It's like, you know, what we're trying to do at Matrix Momentum, we're givers, not takers. We like to give. It's a giver's gain. You know, how can we help? How can we serve? We're servant leaders. We want to help people. You know, how can we go above and beyond? And we've been given this gift as humans, this frontal cortex that allows us to think like this, that we have above, like, I think there's one or two other mammals on this planet that have a frontal cortex. We are blessed that be one of those. And that we've been given that for a reason, so we should use it and live by purpose. So my definition of a legacy, I don't have one, Isabella, because my understanding of what I want to achieve evolves all the time. You know I want to help. I'm driven to help people, but how I help is going to evolve over time. You know, so all I want to do is to get better and better at what I do and give more and create more value for my customers and my friends and my family and my close circle. So how I do that is the key thing for me that I focus on. I know I want to help. That would be my legacy. The how is still in definition.
Yeah.
That's
And
fantastic.
I love what you said, Shay, because if you come back and see how people are reacting, how people they act in their daily life, that many people, they are talented, many people, they have gifts from God, they have experience, but it's not about what you have, it's about what you do with what you have. Once you shift this attitude with your gifts and start to give it away and start to share, start to give values and start to give back for your community, for people around you, start to leave a real impact at this moment, without any sensing, I would say this is the moment that you start your legacy. But I see many talented people, they don't use anything, they keep everything inside them,
Mhm.
they don't share. But what is the aim from that? What is the aim if you have a treasure but it's just buried inside you? And this is the game. And I love what Les Brown said. He said that most of us, most people, they born unique, and most of us also die copy.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah, that's why. So it's all about a choice. Legacy, it's a choice. Legacy, it's giving. I love what Hamamsi said again. It's about giving, giving more, 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 more. Once you have this attitude, by default, you are leaving a legacy without any sense. You will leave it.
And a lot of times that this is a very great point that you just made, Khalid, as well, everyone else. As you guys know, obviously, legacy is very close to my heart on many, many levels, not only because of the book that I published, from World Messenger from Pure to
Wow.
Greatness, and addressing that in the last chapter of my book, the Applying the World Messenger's Legacy, and what that actually all means, because I interviewed people around the world, and I'm seeing this even in those since last 7 or 8 years that changed so much dramatically. And you're right, it is shade changing constantly, right?
Mm.
Because we are involved and we're changing, but it is about servitude, what we do for others. It's not only do we have a gifts, do we use them, but if you just use for our selfish purposes, it's not the servitude for the world. It's about servitude for greater good and leaving imprint for generations to come. Some people, for example, already accomplished their legacies, not because they're the founders of Amazon and they're the richest people in the world, but what they now do with the money, how they really impact employees and everyone else that company reach, for example. Or some that are like my friend Helen, that won Nobel Prize equivalent for environment preventing further damaging and fracking in state New York, for example, where nature is going to be preserved, water as well as people from toxicity and everything else. Things that really make tremendous, tremendous shifts, right? And one of the things I wanted just to highlight when we're talking about Hamsi, be proud of the place that you live in, as well as being the pride where you live. That is quote from my book that I arrived on the end when I did the research and conversation. It's a lot of different things we can go into it, but the reason I'm sharing this, if we're not being proud where we live and something needs to change, opportunity to step up and be conduit for that change, it's tremendous. And at the same time, is the community and environment that we're in proud of us to be part of that community? Because it goes both ways. And a lot of times people lose sidetrack of that. But again, it is hard. It is not easy. It evolves, but definitely gives the most tremendous satisfaction. So I hope that helps. And with that in mind, I'm curious now with everything that is being so much changing in your environments and things that you guys are being through, what do you see some of the global shifts around the legacy right now? Why companies are now realizing not only they need to invest more in people, but also being more conscious and investing in the legacy they are promoting currently and in future generations?
That's a very, very tough question to answer, Isabella, because there's so many answers to it. I do think some companies really do want to change their current trajectory on their legacy, and I think some companies are getting worse. Like you look at the damage that we've done to the environment,
Yeah.
and there's companies there that just really do not care, about the future generations. But there's an awful lot of great and amazing innovation that's happening to clean the oceans, to clean the environment, to clean the air. There's so many great people out there that are leaving a very lasting legacy. So a legacy can be good and bad, Isabella,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
we've seen
Absolute
through
one.
history
Yes.
through that. And like what you said, Aravind, about looking at like older generations, cultures, and people for influence. I read a book um, by Viktor Frankl. He was a war prisoner in Auschwitz, and
Man's search for meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning. Yes, and
Yeah.
I have to say, like the emotions that I had when I
Yeah.
was reading that book, and and he has a quote that he talks about: if you know your why, you can suffer anyhow.
Yeah.
And I have to say that was a real, the way it was written in the book, at the place in the book it was written, just left such an impact. And we're talking about, like first world issues here, and these people are talking about how they stay alive, when they're frozen, they're living in winters and minus degrees with no clothing, and they had to look these soldiers in the face so they wouldn't be sent to the gas chambers, and look that I want
Yeah.
to live, like we don't nothing about that. Well, I know, Arvind, you've had some experiences, and Isabella, but I know nothing about those sort of choices in life, and obviously Viktor Frankl went on to be amazing in his discipline as a psychologist, because whatever he taught himself during the prisons, he learned a method and process that he then taught other people.
Mhm.
And it's fascinating. And I always believe, and I know myself, we've all been through tough times, financially, relationships, emotionally. But I always found those times that I've been challenged most emotionally are the times that I've learned most. And I've always come away with more than what I lost, you know? And I think that's the human condition, where we really want to get up and become better and stronger and more resilient at everything that's been thrown at us. And I think, as I said, you've much more experience than I do as a child, with those. And I'm sure you have this like inbuilt strength now. That's testament to what you do with Dream Space and all the other good stuff that you do. But I just find, sometimes you have to be challenged. You have to be stepped out of your comfort zone, sometimes for good and bad. But like, you have to know what you're made of. And I think that is so important in life. Sorry for going on.
No, I love where
Oh,
you're going, and
fantastic.
It's
I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
wonderful.
beautiful.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, and it's very important, and I'm glad you're touching on that spectrum, because sometimes we think we need to change all world, but if we start changing small environment and doing work in our own communities, rippling effects and the magnitude of that, you'd never know how can be big, right? But if we're always thinking, oh, my efforts don't matter, or who am I to do this, and then majority of people will not do nothing. But then when you also have collective mind frame, and a lot of people that choose that, and you spot on working with refugees and people that lost everything from over 120 countries, when you look at that, is more than half of the world that is being exposed in modern time to horrible atrocities that we create to one another. That is not the legacy, as you said, by conquering, taking over land, or pushing people out and creating new social economic dynamics in order for one group to thrive and the other barely survive or perish. That is the very primitive way of building legacies, colonizations. We can go on and on. But modern times, what Aravind and I experience, it's also giving a very different aptitude and attitude of how we approach life, and how do we see things not only from experience and wisdom, but also from voices of millions of people. And right now, people are seeking to be part of something that feels good, that feels that's inspiring, that feels that has the future, that is built on healthy foundation, environmentally, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, social, economically. A society that is not driven on the parameters that a lot of Western cultures impose. Not all of them are bad, but some of them are absolutely damaging in the Western cultures. We're having here insane mental health issues in the United States. You can't even imagine why, right? Doesn't have to do everything with COVID. COVID just unveiled how bad it is, because we're creating this very artificial, individualistic culture, and people that are becoming more selfish instead of more connected with themselves and more integrated in communities and being part of something that is meaningful. why we have divorces, why we have a domestic violence, why we have wars. All of those are symptomatic issues of bigger cause. And I love you mentioned earlier why. If why is missing, which is missing for a lot of people, then it's very hard. And I literally posted, because it's today is my birthday, and I posted yesterday quote, we could two significant dates in our lives are the day we're born and the day we discover our why. And why is so directly correlated with our legacy and owning that legacy. A legacy not only that we're born into from our families or our culture or society, but the ones that we rise up and want to create. So instead of being a monologue, I will let others to talk, but wanted to hear from Aravind, since it's very close to what both of us experience. Aravind, please.
Yeah, so I think one of the reason that people leave different legacies because they don't live that legacy while they are living, or maybe some part of their life they only lived, and if they have the enough power to change their history, and they do. So you can look at like a lot of rich people in the US who have became rich using slavery, and Rockefeller and so many other people, when they died and at the end, in the last stages of their life, and they said they don't want to die just by taking, consuming all this, and they wanted to build universities and things like that. But the history is written about that, what they did. Yeah. If you look at King Ashoka, like more than 2000 years ago, he was a extremely difficult king, like, slaughtering people. And at the end, in a war field, he realized that, oh, all that is it necessary? And then he became a Buddhist monk, and his family is the one who helped to spread Buddhism from India to other parts of Asia. But now, maybe because of that power, he is considered as the very noble king, even though what he has done till the last moment of his life. So it's all about, like, people have to live their legacy, or follow their principles, what they want to be known for their legacy, and which is unfortunately it's happening only in their last moments of their life. I see a lot of billionaires, they make money, and then after they are really after 60 plus, and they say, okay, we do want a philanthropy. And I remember, I don't know if it's a true story or fake story, and there was I think it's a typical Facebook story, but there was Bill Gates or someone was when he was in early, he was going to some train station. He didn't have money, and then there was a boy who actually polished his shoe, and then he didn't have money. He didn't pay, and after 20 years, this rich person, I don't know if it's Bill Gates, but some rich person went and found this boy person, and then he wanted to give back that, to, because he felt that he should support that person who helped him cleaning the shoe. And this person told that, the boy told that, I don't need it now. You waited 20 years till you achieved everything in your life, and now you think about those people who helped them when you grow. So that is happening, and that's what changed my life also. I see, like, a lot of my friends with whom I grew up, being a child refugee in India, Indians who are making $1 million, salaries in the US, and a lot of them. And when I asked to them, like, can you support your society? Can you do something? And they said, no, we are here. We will do once we have achieved certain something.
Mm.
But it's that is what I didn't want to have. If you want to create a legacy, live your legacy, not till you achieved other things and then start building your legacy at the end of the story. It's the same story with Alfred Nobel, right? He spent so much his research and created the dynamite, and then it killed people, and then he decided whatever he created was completely destroyed the society than what he wanted in the first place. And then he really proved that, and he died in a station in Stockholm as a homeless person. And that true understanding, when he understood the true purpose, without having any unconditional, so to say, like, kind of a, sometimes people help because they think they will get a good karma, so that, not like that, so that's how they create some people legacy. So what he left, and then it's a big legacy now as a Nobel Prize, right? So yeah, my point is, just live your legacy even today, from day one, not till you achieve something, and don't start build it as like your resume, before you die.
Khalid or Hamsi, what are your
Yes.
thoughts?
Hamza, I think that he's frozen right now. Right?
It's okay. It's okay. But you're not.
Okay. No worries. So I will talk about the same thing, which is your purpose. I love what Shay said, Isabella and Irvin spoke about the purpose, because once you discover your purpose, this is it's the fuel that will keep you always in the game. And everything, every choice that you will have in your life will have a meaning. And I kept asking myself why many people they raise the white flag on themselves a lot from the first slap from life, from the first barriers, from the first challenge that they have, because they don't have enough why, they don't have enough reason to continue and keep knocking, keep moving, keep all of that. And I was in the same place one time, and I don't know, but sometimes I raise the white flag on myself. But since I discovered this purpose, which is my purpose in life, I want to leave a real impact. I want to leave a real legacy. I don't want just to come and return back to the same place where we came from, and I don't leave anything. I want to leave something. We want to leave something. And the reason for that you have enough why. That will remind you always, will keep you always in the game, because life, as I said, it will be ups and downs, ups and downs. So what the things that you will always remember when you're down, what will remind you, what will keep you always in the game? And this is what I'm trying to tell myself always. I'm human, I have ups and downs, and I will keep having all of that. But that the difference between me now and me before, that now, once I fall down, I keep myself in the game, and I just open my why and remind myself by my why to keep moving forward. Because I know there are many people are waiting for us on the other side. That's why I keep moving. We keep moving. We keep moving. This is how you can leave a legacy.
I agree. I'm still frozen, guys, or
No, no.
No, you're back.
no, I agree with Khaled. This is what fuel us. Even when I feel down or something, I just get message. I don't know if it's from the higher power, from whatever. I guess message from something. What you're doing is motivating me. What you're doing help me to get a job. How are you doing that? Are you? So I tell them yes. Maybe I was doing some of the work that I was doing. I was doing while I was not having any job. So I tell them, just keep going, keep moving. That you have a why. So think about that always. Think about that, where you want to go, where you want to head. It doesn't matter where are you now. Where are you now? Just work and touch people's lives, and this is the legacy, and this is how they will remember you. And about what Aravind also said, yes, keep doing that every day of your life. Don't wait till the end of and till you reach what you achieved. I remember also a story of a billionaire. I think his name was Chuck Feeney or something like that. He gave out all his money, like 9 billion or $7 billion, when he reached 89, I think, years or something. He reached this age, and he decided to give up, to give all his money, and because he was not happy being a billionaire. It was, of course, a very good gesture and a very good thing to leave. This is a mark, and he gave it to charity and to people who deserve. But as Aravind said, don't wait till the last moment or when you feel that you're going. Always work on leaving your mark and your legacy, all the way, all the time. Think about your why, and think about leaving your mark, helping people, sharing knowledge. This is what will people remember you when you die, as Shay said also about that. How people will remember you.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
because it is true. Legacy is not what you leave left behind for tomorrow when you're gone. A lot of people mistreat that. It's all about what you give, what you create, who you impact, who do you influence, who do you reach. And as Shay said, is it positive? Is it for greater good, or is it for selfish purposes and reasons? Please, Shay, expand.
Yeah, no, but I was just going to say, like, going back to this word, why, your purpose, right? And
Yeah.
again, like, I struggle because, like, as we evolve, we keep learning new things. What I wanted to do yesterday is not what I want to do tomorrow, for example. So I always believe it's something that you need to keep asking this question all the time. And the more you ask, the more you cement the idea in your head, because there's a difference. Like the word motivation, I have a funny opinion of motivation. Like, motivation doesn't last. You know,
Absolutely
if
does
you have to motivate yourself to do something, it's more of a want, or you feel you have to,
Yeah.
right? But if you have a purpose, it's a need. You know, it's like having to eat, having to drink water, you know, having to survive. If you create that purpose that creates that need, like Viktor Frankl did, there's nothing that can stop you. You're like, and obviously there's people that go very extreme and become really obsessed at the consequence of other parts of their lives, which can be destructive too. But I believe it's so important to make it a need more than a want. Forget the word motivation. If you feel you have to motivate yourself to do something, you have to question, is it what you really want to do? Because when you know, and people say, and here's a great example, like, people say, I have no time. You know, I can't do this because I have no time. Here's an example of a need. What happens if one of your family members gets ill and you have to take them to the hospital? You're the only person who can do it. I guarantee you'll make the time to do it, you know, because it's a priority. When you start understanding what your priorities are in life, and start acting on your priorities, not just thinking, but acting, align your actions to your beliefs, that's when you know you're on the right journey. Because a lot of people say what they want to do, but they don't do what they say they want to do.
I love
Wonderful.
that. I love that, Shay. And what I'm also wanted to just to point out, because we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional as we're intentional in everything we do, right? If we're not intentional, if we're not looking and verifying and making sure what we're doing still makes sense and still makes impact, we have to constantly also be adjusting. But being intentional, it's going to help not only for us to live more fulfilled life, but also to fulfill other people's dreams and desires around us because of those gifts that every single one of us have. So, any comments from you, Hamsi? And
On
before we dive
sorry,
into before that we
yeah.
dive into, I would love to.
Thank you, Hassan.
I just wanted to say hello to our great colleagues here that
Hassan.
are also joining us from different parts of the world. We're having a great colleague here joining us from Croatia. We have one Liga joining us from, I believe, Peru. Aziz is joining us from Middle East. Javid and others. So we wanted just to say great having you with us. If you have any questions, please let us know. But we're gonna fast forward gears now to Hamsi. Hamsi, any comments? Because I thought you may want to say something. Go for it.
I just wanted to say happy birthday, Isabella, and you're rebuilding your legacy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm super excited again. As you guys know, anybody that knows me, and you might, dear colleagues and friends, we're part of the Matrix Advisory Group that we funded, created, and we're doing some magical work now moving forward. I'm super thrilled that today it's unveiling on so many levels, not only parts on our website and our story and what we're doing collectively with highly diverse teams to make this happen, but in the same time, what we're doing individually, right? And how we can now, with joint forces, make even more so tremendous impact and difference around the world. So cannot be better gift for me today to be with you and also to share what we're up to and what amazing things are coming moving forward. So super excited.
Yeah, always.
Brilliant. Happy
that's
birthday.
Thank you. And anybody wondering how old I am? I am 25. I'm legal to drive.
My brother always told that even when he was like 35 or 40, he always said that he's 19 years old with 15 years experience, you know.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. But you know what's so interesting, and I have to share this quickly because I wanted to also give to you guys the formula for creating legacy, which you specifically, every single one of you here on the call, on the panel, in this conversation, my colleagues from Matrix Momentum Advisory Group and obviously Matrix Momentum Show, it's very important to really look at how do we define the legacy, because that changes, right? And world needs more of that futuristic and generational passing on, not only financial and social economic, but also land preservation and the wisdom and the knowledge. And I remember something that I did to research, and this is a powerful story I want to share. When I work with Sufi masters from Middle East that survived horrible atrocities, and then also with Dalai Lama's few members who went through a lot of torture and horrible, horrible mistreatment. I also had a chance to work with chiefs of Navajo tribe and have a conversation with them. And interesting parallel occurred. How do you measure someone's success, the human success? And they use the word men's success because generationally, patriarchal environments, and you pass generation to generation because of the last names, right? And the focus was on where they use men's success. Answer was the same on 3 levels. First, they said, all of them, and when you look at, we're talking about Middle East, we're talking about Tibet, Nepal, northern China, right? And we're talking about America, or midst between Latin America and Northern America. And now we're looking at this, and number 1 was, how many trees did you plant? And what did you pass on to future generation? The power of planting the trees. And when you think about that's so simple, but think about how many years and hundreds and thousands of years some trees and forests were preserved, and how long it takes them for them to grow, and how quickly they burn. Second thing was passing of written word. At that time, centuries and centuries, there was no luxury to pass the word in the books we have luxury to do today.
Yeah.
It was about passing from generation to generation to storytelling, till we got to the point that we can now capture that. And now we have overload of information that we need to now really look for quality content, right? To really find that deep, true meaning. And then interesting thing was raising a child or children. And it was not about your child. It's about children around you, and really passing on that really educational aspects to the future generation. So with that in mind, you guys are doing all of those 3 elements. I just want to say congratulations. And then in terms of defining your legacy, it's really understanding your legacy potential, what that really looks like, when it's being defined, as we did, defining our own concept, like what is Matrix Advisory Group all about? And now looking about our legacy potential, our reach, our mutuality, and our desire, and now multiply by 5, right? And when you expand that, you can be multiplied by hundreds, by thousands. But also, what are our habits? How do we really exude that? How are we living it? And I love the examples you guys used and shared earlier, because if we're not doing it, we're not living it, it's not happening. And also, how is it being perceived by others? Do others connect to it? How do others really see it? So when we have those elements multiplied, that's where you get this like potential that is multiplied with opportunity of our habits and how we're living it, and how is that perceived by people that needs or desire to have it. And here we go, you create the legacy.
Yeah.
Amazing words, Isabella. Yes.
I just want to add something, which I think people shouldn't, like Shay said, that I'm not thinking this. I'm not even thinking about defining my legacy, or I should leave something. I think a lot of people kind of artificially do it like a branding, they just want to
Like a
create a legacy
business.
just for the sake of legacy. Like politicians, they would just create a certain brand, they would put a certain dress or something so that it's like a legacy. The statues are made like that and so on. So I think that's how it is. Be like, the ancient civilization, and people who are not, basically not, I don't think so, they normal people, of course kings, they actually develop that brand, and they want the history to be written as a legacy, how they want to be written. and that is what people they should do what they are good in it, and they should keep doing it, and they should earn a legacy from that naturally. Than like we find a lot of people in LinkedIn, they just want to be an influencer by doing something which is not actually their main work. And I see that a lot of people who became best influencers and successful by doing what they do really, and not something parallelly and then try to become a
Authentically,
you
yes.
know so it's exactly like that. If we fulfill our duties and if we fulfill our values, there will be definitely a legacy that will be left behind, and that's even in Hindu philosophies. Uh, uh, um, they the Brahmic system has like four type of people. One is Brahmin, and one is Shuddha and Vaisya, and then there are like four different types of people, or so to say. Like one is a farmer, one is a businessman, one is a common man, and one is a Brahmin, is like kind of very close to the god, like a priest. And a lot of people, and then when I was talking with one of the guru, and actually it was my wife was asking, in Hinduism it's considered that if you don't eat kill any animal or meat, and then as a Brahmin, that person can reach nirvana, yeah, the destiny, so the heaven. But then we asked, is that true? And then this Vedic teacher told that it's not actually true. It's about like what you do. For example, there are four divisions, right? One is a warrior. The warrior's job is to protect people from different things. And if you are protecting people from person or animal by killing them, still by doing that duty, that person is going to attain, reach the nirvana or whatever it is, the end goal. So it is all about like how we define our duties, and we keep doing that, and then I think true legacy will be made, and we don't have to push it, like a brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like this what Arvind's saying. Of course, it reminds me. Yes, you have to be real, authentic, and don't fake something to build a legacy. You have to be yourself. And I think I read something a long time ago also that I liked a quote about it, that it's like planting a seed that you're never going to see, something like that. That's a legacy. That's your legacy. So I like this quote. I remembered it now. I wanted to share it with you.
Beautiful. Thank you. The great addition. And yes, has to come from the heart, but people don't
Yes.
understand. So many people try to replicate what the others are doing. So many are trying to get a name in the park, or on the building plaque or street, or being seeking and striving as a power, and also as a domination. And that is all the wrong way to do it. And nothing wrong about success and being extremely successful, but also being conscientious. Right now, we have a huge issues with companies that don't pay taxes that they should be paying, that they're trying every single way to get away with things. That is not a legacy or company or name or brand, personally, that shares my values. And people
Yes.
are seeing that. Some things that we're doing, we may not see results, but we're planting seeds, and they may bud hundreds, thousands years later and be the most pivotal thing. It's not about recognition. It's about just doing it and knowing why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Shay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, like it's going back to something that Arvind said about like people become influencers and it may not be aligned to their core values. And like influence is a big word for me. And like when I work with my clients and they ask me, how do you influence? Right. And they always think they have to do this branding exercise, to show people that you're amazing. But I say, no, for me, it's two things. To do an amazing job of what you've been employed to do, number one, and then help your colleagues do an amazing job, right? And if you continue that motto, like you will influence, people will see who you are. And then that, see, for me, the important part of that is there's this thing called the law of reciprocation. It's one of the most powerful things when you get working, whether it's a business or whether it's personal life or whatever. When you help someone who needs help, you both feel good because you've helped someone, and then they feel good because you got them out of a out of a stick and they achieve something. So two people win. Guess what happens after that? The person you help not only will be more inclined to help you to repay the favor, but they'll help someone else because they know what it's like to be helped. They've been on that other side of the coin, and that becomes contagious. And when you create that culture of helping in a business, that's when the magic happens. Imagine that people coming in to help their colleagues, their comrades, not just to come in for the business, and that's what I always believe, that some companies have it backwards. It's not about just pushing hard. It's about creating community, getting people wanting to come in to do a really good day's work for their colleagues, just like a football team, when they're on the pitch playing for their teammates, their comrades. And I believe that's how you start building these things. And again, Darwin's point, it's like something you do bit by bit. You don't set out, well, this is my legacy, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. It's just something that you evolve into over time. And that's why I struggle with defining what my legacy is, because I just know what my values and principles are and I want to live by them. But hey, we're all contradictions as well. Like, we don't always live by our values, but these are points that we must reflect on. Well, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I live to my value there, and figure out, well, was it really a value, or is it something I just need to evolve on?
Very, very powerful.
I hate when people, they say, I'm vegetarian, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays I eat meat. Like, why do you call yourself vegetarian?
He used the hybrid model.
But those
Just accept it who you are.
I'm a very nice person, but in my household I'm the monster. Yeah. A lot of, obviously, a lot of that. It is that consistency and intention, right? That's what that we need to see. More consistency in what we wanted to achieve, and more intention, and be very, very intentional. What are your thoughts, Hamsi?
Yeah, I think you all covered it very well. Yes, of course. I like, of course, also what you said about choosing the company and where you work. You must adhere with your core values. Like, don't go, for example, for money without knowing what the company is doing, or if they are not abiding to your own values. You must check the culture, what's happening. This kind of the things. Companies also lead legacy, not only us humans. So choose well when you are going for a company, and yeah, all the points I liked from Aravind, Shay, and from Isabella concerning this. And of course, it's all about leaving your mark, and like I said before, how people will remember you. Yes.
Fantastic. Anybody else before we go in reflective mode and give golden nuggets for audience and everybody watching and listening, how they can leave their legacy or how they can create it with some really actionable things?
I would say one thing, because I like what you speak about, Isabella, which is success. And I believe success is something relative. You cannot just generalize the definition of success. Your success is defined based on your core values and based on your definition. My success could be totally different. So I would define success, and the big difference between success and legacy. Success, I think it's individual thing, that it's the continual unfolding of designing your own future. So success for me could be a Ferrari because I'm chasing it. Success for me could be being a good father. Success for me could be a good husband. Success for me could buying something. Success, it depends. And that's why success, it's very relative. But leaving a legacy, I believe when it comes when you give more than what you have. Giving more than what you have and what you are. This is the real leaving. This is the beginning of the legacy. But success, it's something individual, something it's a choice, something I see many people with my due respect, and I respect all of that. They don't have too much money, but they are very successful in what they're doing, and they are very happy. So success, it's nothing related to money. Success is not something related to materialistic things. It could be if it's my choice. if it's my choice, I need to have that. Once I have that, now I feel that I achieved something. I move into my success. But legacy, it's totally different. Once you start to give more than what you have, and once you give more than what you are, this is at this point you will have a legacy and you leave it.
You reminded me, Khaled, actually, of someone who left a legacy, and she was on LinkedIn, and I just remembered her when we were talking about the 50 most influencer people on LinkedIn. Christy Bonner, she really left a legacy. She was helping people making CVs, and she was helping people finding jobs, and this is leaving a legacy. Till now, she left us 1 year ago, and she had like problems. Mental, I think, issues and
Yes.
stuff like that. And she was not, nobody know about that. But because she was focusing on people, focusing on
Mm.
helping people, and she forgot about herself and about her mental health. So you reminded me about this when we're talking about leaving a legacy. This lady really left a legacy, and
Legacy.
this is how about not being an influencer, being real, not fake. She helped
Authentic.
thousands of people finding jobs, helped thousands of people building their own CVs. That's a real legacy.
I love that you were using Christy because I'm very familiar with her
Yeah.
actually. And the beauty it is she wanted others to succeed. So my
Yes.
story, why I mentioned success, we need to revisit what that looks like, because with our success and achievement, others are succeeding. Or also when we're investing in others people's success, we are succeeding. And guess what? That's exactly what she did create. She created snowballing effect. Because she helped others to succeed, she was extremely successful. And as a result, she was really known in that space as a go to for social media, around the LinkedIn, around the jobs, around knowing how to navigate complexities during the search and everything else. And it's unfortunate that we lost her due to suicide, actually. And it's unfortunate that she did not know how to seek and ask help. But in the same time, she leveraged success ratio and her passion and satisfaction to serve others. And as a result, she produced this legacy. And you're right, legacy is different, but is built actually upon. You can't build a legacy if you don't feel successful and if you don't feel like you accomplish anything, because then you're not doing anything, you're not trying. And success, again, as you mentioned, it's a different definition and meaning to it, but doesn't always necessarily has to be this grandiose things.
Same, yes.
Because where everybody's going for that grandiose things and they're undermining these little other steps or things they're doing and they think they're not good enough. But in reality, they are. In reality, that's where the gold is. It's not the fluff. It's not about how good you're just to market yourself and promote. It's about where your heart is, where the
Impact.
people see it and recognize it.
Great.
And with
Happy
that in
birthday.
mind, we're getting close to the end. And I just want to ask you, what would you say in the closing for anybody that is now pursuing achieving their legacy, either individually or as a team, or they're trying to make that happen?
Well, for me, for anyone that is struggling with what they need to do or find their purpose, listen to your gut first and foremost. And if you have we say in Ireland, if you have an itch, scratch it. Like, just listen to your gut and try it. Don't live with regrets. Don't just plod along through life, grow through life. Try and live by purpose. Don't just follow into the rat race where you're just getting up, going to work, and then going home. Try and live by purpose. And even if it's a simple life, do everything with value and principles and love. Like, don't just do it for the sake of doing it. And that's it. Just live by purpose.
Wonderful.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, in my, as I said, like live, not leave, live your legacy. That means as exactly do your things. And definitely there will be a legacy left behind. So if you live it every day. And
Yay, I love it. Yes, you have to live it in order to leave it. Yes.
yeah.
How about you,
Great
Khaled?
one. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, can you hear me or no? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Okay, for me, I would say that it's all about you and it's all about your choices. So don't be sidetracked by secondary activities and just live your life and see it just fade away in front of you. because I know I love what Shay said, that most people, they are very good in the rat race, but just calm down, relax, reflect, and ask yourself, what is the real meaning of your life? And at this moment, once you're true to yourself, you will find it. It will not easy. It will not be easy, but trust me, once you start asking these questions, you will find your meaning in life. So don't let your life fade away in front of you, and just leave it like this till you come to a point that you will be regret. So still you have the time, and you can be the taking the driving wheel of your life. So don't leave it away.
Well said.
Great, great, well said. It's hard to add on those, of course, but I'll say follow your heart and passion, and live and lead with empathy, and help others, and give more than you take, and this is how people will remember you, and remember your legacy.
That is brilliant. I love everything.
Happy birthday, Isabella.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. And I love everything you guys said. And you just stole my closing here. But in terms of legacy and why we need more legacy leaders to lead others into that legacy, that intention, that vision, that future, that something that is bigger, greater than ourselves, right? And something that is intentional. But when it always comes from service to others first, without serving and helping others, and it's possible. Considering the ways how we can really make that impact, influence, and as a result, we're going to be living it in order to leave it. So thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for a great birthday wishes. I'm super excited to also say again, dear friends and colleagues, thank you for participating.
Happy
Love
birthday.
your comments. Thank you. And look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. We're going to have some really great topic and more great news to share. And check it out, the Legacy Leaders, check it out, Matrix Advisory Group. Oh my goodness.
See you.
Happy birthday, Isabella. See you all.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Take care.
birthday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.